5:30,
Recording in progress.
and we'll open the Town of Bourne Board of Health meeting for July 24th, 2024. And we also have a Zoom feed tonight, and will not be monitored. Participants who wish to speak must raise the hand icon until the chair asks them to unmute. Note that this meeting is being televised and recorded by Bourne Community TV for replay. If anyone in the audience is also recording or videotaping, they need to acknowledge such at this time. All items within the meeting agenda are subject to deliberation and votes by the Board of Health. If anyone from the public wishes to access the meeting remotely, they could do so by clicking the Zoom link or by calling the following conference line on their phone and using the Zoom meeting ID and password below. The dial-in number is 1-309-205-3325. And the Zoom meeting ID number is 315-403-5336. Password is 02532. Calling the meeting to order, and first we'll open with attendance. Barbara Princiotti.
Here.
Dusty Meyer.
Yes.
Margaret Reale.
Here.
Miguel Prieto.
Here.
Bob Collette here. So the next agenda item is 22 Sagamore Road, continued from July 10th, 2024. Dylan Brady, Brady Consulting, on behalf of owners George and Lauren Doherty.
Is that okay, or do you guys want it right over here?
Up there, I think.
I'll let the other members over there.
Great.
Again, so for the record, Dylan Brady with Brady Consulting, here to represent George Doherty at the address of 22 Sagamore Road. Again, as we were continued from July 10th, really quickly, just want to make this brief here. The reason for continuance was confusion with the plans, the architectural plans submitted. We submitted the updated ones that were submitted with the building permit, as well as the basement floor plan. We opened up the 2 utility room and the storage room to a 6-foot wide entrance. Just to clarify that, these aren't habitable rooms. Make sure we're complying by the bedroom definition of what a bedroom is, just to ensure that these are not recognized as bedrooms. And those were the only changes made to the architectural plans and the submittal. And with that, I'll open up to any questions the board has.
I just have one question.
Yeah.
So these are dated the same date as the ones that you got your building permit from. So that you may have continued confusion because these are the ones that you actually have to use for your building permit because your permit was subject to our approval. So, does the building department know that these are revised, the basement plan is revised?
Yeah, so I can double check with that, but I believe, it shouldn't affect at least it's only a couple, I think it's a wall, or just opening up. So I can confirm that with you before.
Yeah, that would be fine. Just make sure that, and the staff can do it too, but just make sure that, because these are the ones you have to follow.
Yes.
Get your,
When Dylan stopped at the office to drop off the hard copies for you guys, I did log on to the e-permitting site to confirm that they were the matching ones, and they had uploaded the revised basement plans to that. And I did make a comment tagging all building department personnel,
perfect.
notifying them. So
Great job.
Thank you, Dylan.
Anybody have any other questions? Katie, are these, any recommendation on your part?
No other concerns for the project? No.
Take a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve 22 Sagamore Road, requesting relief from 310 CMR 15 and Board of Health 150-foot setback regulations for the installation of an innovative alternative sewage disposal system at 22 Sagamore Road, including a reduction in SAS location setbacks to property line to 3.5 feet, a reduction in septic tank location setbacks to property line to 5.3 feet, a reduction in SAS location setbacks to cellar wall of 4.4 4 feet, 1 depot per disposal area, and reduction in SAS location setbacks to a coastal bank.
Second.
And vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Miguel? Aye.
Yes.
Margaret? Aye. Bob? Aye.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
I'm actually going to present for the second one, too.
Okay, yeah.
Kevin Grady couldn't make it today, so I'll be standing in for him.
Okay, so next agenda item, 9 Middle Way, continued from July 10th, 2024. Again, Grady Consulting on behalf of owner Brian Andrade.
Katie, do you have last week's packet with you? Just the Bob and I can look at it. We'll get it back to you.
Okay?
Thank you. Again, for the record, Dylan Brady with Grady Consulting, here to represent the applicant Brian Andrade at 9 Middle Way. So this was continued, but it hasn't been, presented yet, so I will present this this project as is. Is it all right if I present with the board? Step away from the microphone?
Sure. Go right ahead.
So the proposed project is a raise and rebuild. This is dwelling is here, the proposed dwelling is the shaded in brown. The applicant is proposing to remove the existing cesspool in the back here, and instead propose a singular tank that leads to a geomat leaching system, both technology. The only local upgrade approval we are seeking here is setbacks to the coastal bank. As you can see, we put it in the front as far as the coastal bank as possible, and while keeping and maintaining the setback distances to the property line, as well as the foundation. And I'll be brief with that. I'll look at any questions you guys have.
I'm sorry, I wasn't here for the last meeting, so what was the reason that this was continued?
They had Concom, they had to go back to Concom.
Oh, great,
Yeah.
okay.
Mhm.
All right, thank you. Yeah.
Dylan, do you know the distance from the leach field to the full foundation portion of the house?
Yeah, so it's 5 feet, but for the geomat,
Yeah.
height rules, that's
Okay.
5 feet allowable.
Yep, perfect, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I mean, what was this for? This.
That was the existing layout of the home.
All right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, as the raise rebuild, they are proposing to change a 3-bedroom home to a 5-bedroom home. As for the architecturals, I think they're dated June 18th. They are outside of the 100-foot setback to the coastal bank. They are within the 150. They're proposing alternative nitrogen removal treatment, bringing the total nitrogen loading down, I believe, to 8.5 parts per million, and replacing a existing cesspool that might have also been piped to leach right into the ocean at the end of that as well. So,
Do you all have room to put in a 6-bedroom septic?
Yeah, so we're adhering to every setback required except for the coastal bank, which we moved it as far away
No,
as possible.
you're putting in a 5-bedroom septic. Do you have room to put in a 6-bedroom septic? Because these plans, just so you know, also have the same issue as 22 Sagamore, because you have the office and the bonus room. So you really have, according to your plans, according to our local bedroom definition, 6 bedrooms, so either you'd need to open up the office,
Yeah, I believe,
bonus room.
I believe the office is over there.
That doesn't,
Dash line.
that's not a 6-foot opening, that looks like, it says right there, 4 feet 9 inches.
Okay. Yeah, if it's not 6 feet, then I'm sure you're gonna, wasn't intentional, I think it was 6 feet.
Yeah, I don't think, you have a 2 refrigerators there, so I think.
That might be an old submission packet, Barbara. Yeah, they did submit revised architecturals back in June.
Did we say June 13th? Should also double check
Yeah,
with.
I didn't get the architecture.
Yeah, and Dylan, we know this isn't your thing, so you might not have been aware of that, so.
Architect, I don't have
Okay, yeah, so I see,
See, it's 1, 2.
plans that I have here with the office, I have 7'6".
That
What
is
are
what I
those
have
dated?
as well
Yeah.
on the.
There was a lot of paperwork coming in for these two
Oh,
projects.
okay, all right, so as long as.
Very good chance that it didn't get in there, but some things are printed duplex as well.
Okay, so can we just hold on to this for 1
Yeah,
second? just so we
absolutely,
can look at them?
absolutely. Yeah.
I can show you this as well.
Oh, that's okay, he gave them to us, we
Okay,
can just use that.
perfect, yeah.
Yeah, that's us. Yeah. And then, what's in the basement? Just have a basement? Oh, here we go. Wait.
There's a full foundation portion just underneath the front of the portion of the house. The back half is a slab foundation.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that is where all utilities are.
So no,
that. I got that part.
you want to,
It's this I don't have that I was trying to.
It looks like it's only accessible by a bulkhead.
okay. You want to take a look at it? That's his, though. And the office staff has it. But you guys have everything.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, and it looks like you opened it up. so-
Opened up, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for doing that.
7'6".
So that's what they're talking about, this could be a bedroom, but
This opens, yeah.
this is big enough to serve it for the county.
Give this back to Roger. Proposed slab, proposed full cellar.
That's
Yeah,
Dylan's.
Dylan, thank you very much. Appreciate you doing that.
The bedrooms are upstairs. Oh, the bonus room.
Yeah, nitrogen counts.
The nitrogen calculations that were
They're
provided along with that?
Yeah.
Before.
We brought it from currently 12.66 down to
You could say 8.5, yeah.
8.5?
Yeah. Okay, good. Okay. Any other questions? Board, recommendations? Katie, any comments?
No other comments except for that this will be a great environmental benefit compared to what's there currently.
Okay. Entertain a motion?
I'll try. Okay, this is a request we're at 9 Middle Way, on behalf of owner Brian Andrade for requesting relief from 150-foot setback regulation for the installation of an innovative alternative sewage disposal system at 9 Middle Way, and a reduction in SAS location setback to a coastal bank to 100 feet, .7. I move to approve.
Have a second?
Second.
Trustee second. Miguel?
Aye.
Barbara?
Yes.
Yes. Bob? Aye. Yes. Thank you, Dylan. Yeah. Thank you for your work on that. Okay, next on the agenda, number 4, 6 Massasoit Ave, Charles Rowland of Cape and Islands Engineering, on behalf of owner applicant Briscoe Trust, John J. Briscoe, trustee. Sure, step up to the microphone, please, and identify yourself for the board.
Okay, I'm John Briscoe, the property owner. I'm kind of embarrassed. I mean, I don't know where my engineer is.
Yeah, Chuck's here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm on Zoom. I emailed ahead of time.
Oh, I'm sorry,
I'm
Chuck.
here. You guys all hear
Okay.
me?
Yes,
Yep.
Chuck, thank you.
So good evening, Chuck Rowland, Cape and Islands Engineering. I'm presenting the applicant of 6 Massasoit Avenue, the Briscoes. And I'm assuming you guys have all reviewed the project, but I'll run through it fairly quickly. We have a proposed new structure that is going to be more resilient to coastal inundation. We're keeping the 2-bedroom, keeping it as a 2-bedroom garage. We'll be replacing the existing system with an upgraded denitrified microfast Title V septic system and associated appurtenances. And we will also be including some drip edges and some small drainage structures to help reduce the nitrogen. We have a raised septic system with the quick plus infiltrators, as well as a microfast and a pump chamber to provide the 4 feet of naturally occurring, to provide 4 feet of separation to groundwater. If you'd like, I can pull the plan up on my screen, unless you guys have already kind of seen it.
Would anybody like to have it on the screen, or? Yeah,
If they have it in front of them.
I think we're all set there, Chuck.
Okay. So this is an improvement over existing conditions. We have a septic that's in the ground that provides very minimal separation or anything else. Presently, I do not believe it meets Title V requirements, and we'll be requesting this under feasible compliance. So essentially, there's no increase in flow. It's better than what's existing. If you want, I can run through the variance requests, unless you guys have already kind of reviewed them.
That would be fine if you would like to expound on that, Chuck,
Sure.
please.
So the SAS to the wetlands, presently it's the separation to groundwater is probably 0, and we're proposing 4 feet. Tank and pump chamber to wetlands, 35 to 38 feet away. We are requesting a waiver for the 4 feet of naturally occurring material, as we couldn't get down that far during our perk test. We're requesting a variance to the 3-bedroom minimum design, as this is a 2-bedroom minimum design. We're using the quick 4 plastic infiltrators. And we're requesting a variance to the tank separation to the slab foundation of 10 feet down to 5 feet, so that way we can provide better separation to the wetland to shift the field over, as well as the pump separation to the slab. And the last variance is obviously no longer a variance request, because I requested a variance from the health regulations that require a hydrogeologic study, but I completed that. I think I skipped over the first variance request, which is 150 feet from the wetland, to the wetland, which is just not feasible for this property, considering the location to the wetland. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you. Any questions from the board?
I just have one, just because, and maybe it's for Dusty or Katie. So if this is a two-bedroom, I don't know if Chuck said, did he design this system for a two-bedroom?
It's a 220 gallons per day system.
Yeah, so the minimum's three bedrooms, so I'm not sure if, do people have thoughts on that? Because according to all the regulations, you're supposed to design, no matter what, it's supposed to be designed
As
for
long as you
three-bedroom.
provide a deed restriction and the board approves that, so
Yeah, I
they'll
just find
have
like
to
deed
have-
restrictions effective, so can you fit a three-bedroom design on here, or no?
It would not be beneficial for the wetlands at all.
Okay,
No.
all right. Okay, so it's better off to.
Yeah, you don't want to, we want to limit the construction that happens on that site essentially.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
get it. Okay, so you'd recommend a deed restriction then,
Yes.
Katie?
Mhm.
And then, is there anything else, like recommendations that you'd have for this, or no? Yeah, because it's a tiny.
It's a tiny little lot and the groundwater is right there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is the most feasible option. It's similar to what we have in the surrounding area. Other options that we've had on that street have been tight tanks, but that's when there's not proposed new construction, but they're
Okay.
bringing this house into FEMA compliance, so they're
Okay.
bringing it up. Mm-hmm.
All right, so no options, all right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, any other further questions?
Just one.
Dusty?
Any nitrogen numbers?
Yes.
Yes, they're right there.
They brought it down from 12 something to 9, I believe,
Okay.
with the proposed microfesting. Yes. Oh, sorry, 1620 to
16.
9.9.
Oh, wow, that's a big.
Yeah.
All right. Any comments, Katie?
Nothing else, no?
So entertain a motion.
All right, I'll do this one, I guess. I'll make a motion to approve 6 Massasoit Ave, requesting relief from 310 CMR 15 and the Board of Health 150-foot setback regulations for the installation of an innovative alternative sewage disposal system, including a reduction in SAS location setback to a wetland to 133 feet, a reduction in tank and pump location setback to a wetland to 65 feet and 62 feet respectively, a reduction in separation to groundwater to 4 feet, a reduction in naturally occurring material from 4 feet to 3.08 feet, a reduction in setback of the tank to the slab foundation to 5 feet, a reduction in setback of the pump chamber to the slab foundation to 5 feet, including a deed restriction, a 2-bedroom deed restriction, and then we need to put in the IA maintenance agreement. Was there any other thing that goes with that?
We have the deed restriction, IA disclosure notice, and the operation and maintenance agreement.
Yeah, and the operation and maintenance agreement.
I second
Second. Okay. And Margaret?
Yes.
Dusty?
Yes.
Yes. Bob? Yes. All right.
Thank you, Chuck.
Okay. Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you very much. Have a great night.
You too.
Yep. All set, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You too.
The next item on the agenda, number 5, 23 Wall Street, non-compliance with operations and maintenance of an IA septic system. Is there anybody here from 23 Wall Street on Zoom?
She is. I'm just going to see if I can get her to unmute.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Okay. Thank you.
Present is the owner, Archangelo Maffeo.
Okay. Ms. Matheo?
So this was a referral from Barnstable County because the operation maintenance contract that was set with this facility had been canceled, and a new contract had not been submitted to Barnstable County. They tend to reach out at least twice before they refer it to the Board of Health for further action. So that's where we're at today.
Okay. I have had someone out to the property. They are from T-Ticket, Massachusetts. The name is Cape Septic Inspections. They were out at the beginning of January. The system, it was faulty for quite some time since wastewater treatments had the contract. I have had it pumped several times and now trying to get it back so that all the pumps and the denitrification system works again. It is faulty just now. So it was tested the last time in October 6th in 23. And I have the test scores to that.
Okay.
So, you know, the best I could say at this point is I do have another company that's working to get it back up and running. When they were out in July, the beginning of July, they did tell me that it was going to be between $4,000 and $5,000 to get this system back up. It has been faulty since 2006, 2020. The panel doesn't work, the alarm button stays on, sometimes it rings. It's clearly been a nuisance for quite some time. And I do understand that it is something that I have to have running properly.
Would that company be willing to sign a contract with you showing us that you are taking that step?
Sure, you're right, I can't, I have spoken to continuously throughout the month. So if that's what you need, I could certainly have that in the works.
If you guys wanted to have a deadline that we have a contract by, that could be something that we work on.
You want to give me until 30 days from today, that would be fine.
I would suggest maybe 14, if that seems reasonable. 14. There's no reason why you can't arrange with them to have a contract presented and for you to sign, or for them to sign on for your property,
Okay. All right.
and then to have it delivered within 14 days to our office, please. If everybody in agreement with that? I think that's a reasonable period of time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then should she also authorize whoever this contractor is to be able to speak to the Board of Health and the office staff? That way, if we have any questions.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay,
Did you hear all of that?
I did,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
And it should be directed to the Board of Health of Bourne.
Yes.
Yep, at Town Hall.
Do you want her to come back? If not, so when's our August meeting scheduled?
Yeah.
Even the 14th?
With that, we come back at our August meeting, August 14th, to update us on progress and status of the contract, et cetera.
All right, I will.
Maybe she should have him by then, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I'll make a motion to continue 23 Wall Street to August 14th. Ms. Maffio is to have a contract delivered to the Board of Health, the office staff, within 14 days. So that would be by August 7th. Ms. Maffio, just to be clear, it's a week before the meeting, so you need to have that in by August 7th. And also authorize whoever your contractor is to speak to any member of the Board of Health or any member of the Health Department.
Okay.
That's my motion.
I second it.
Trustee?
Yes.
Yes. Miguel?
Yes.
Bob, yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, moving on. First item on the agenda is 141 Williams Ave, Paula Hoffman, noncompliance with orders to correct dated March 15th, 2024 for violations of the State Sanitary Code 150 CMR 410.000. Is Hoffman in the audience?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Hello.
I was there.
Okay.
So this complaint originally came in, it was submitted to the building department, and we were tagged in the review step. On March 14th, Dion reached out to go over some of this information, and they scheduled inspection. He went to the property and with the occupant did a comprehensive inspection per her request, where he noted violations of the housing code and sent orders to correct on March 15th. As of July 12th, there were a couple violations that were still outstanding, so this was placed on the agenda. Dion conducted an additional inspection this week to confirm that work had or hadn't been done, and he did note 4 specific things that still needed repairs, and that included the bedroom ceiling was patched but cosmetic finishing was needed. Stains were still bleeding through the last coat of paint. Hallway, the deck is unstable, usable condition, unsafe. It's the secondary egress in the back of the property, and without it, they don't have that secondary egress. The basement door was still leaking during his last inspection. The contractor was scheduled that day to make an assessment, and the HVAC company was still scheduled to address concerns ordered by the plumbing inspector.
Can you tell us what's left?
So that's what's left. It's HVAC corrections that were needed from the plumbing inspector, a leaking basement door, we need the deck replaced, and some paint work in the bedroom and hallway.
So the major problems have been corrected.
Most of the problems had been corrected, yes.
Except there's no secondary egress, which if there's a fire or
Unsafe,
some
yeah.
other hazard, the occupant,
Yes.
potentially.
Yes.
And there's some records here from 2019.
Yes, there was an older complaint that was filed with the Board of Health, and at their follow-up meeting with that, corrections must have been completed because they did waive the fines that were instilled at that time.
Do we want to
This
place?
is-
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
You can just come up
Please
and address
approach.
the board.
Yeah.
Just state your name because we only have your first.
Julie Tillier-Ball. So she was notified March 13th at 7:26 PM that I came home from work. And I walked into, so let me retract. So when I prior to me moving in the house in October of 2023, she did tell me that there were repairs still needing to be made to the roof. You could see in the bedroom that the plaster and paint was tearing apart from the ceiling. She said that was going to be repaired. That was not repaired by the time that I had moved in. Clearly, the roof issues from 2019 were not completed. She had told me that the roofer at that time who had done the work did not do complete work. She had been arguing with him to fix the roof. She was to have him come back and fix the entire roof. That has never happened. When I came home, I notified her in December, I believe it's December 11th, that the house stunk of mold, that the issues were getting worse with my bedroom ceiling. It was falling in more, and nothing was being done about it. I had no idea the prior violations. She continued to ignore anything and everything with this house. When I came home on March 13th, I walked into the ceiling with pouring water coming out of it. It was all over my bedroom floor. My area rug was destroyed. I was in my winter clothes, and it was an absolute nightmare. I videoed it. I sent it to her. She received it at 7:26 p.m. I did not get an answer from her until 9:12, and her answer was, "Could you put a bucket or a towel there?" This is my home. And then she notifies me that somebody will be out on Saturday at 9. I have water coming through my ceiling. The house reeks of mold. And you're going to have somebody come in an emergency situations. My sons had to break the lock that she put on the attic entry to the attic to get up there to see if a pipe has burst. Why am I having water through my ceiling? This woman did not fix anything. She put old insulation, almost like a pool. She put a tarp down, clamped it down in hopes that the snow melting water or the rainwater would be collected into this tarp. And in fact, it did until it overflowed into my room. This has been a continued problem. Clearly, this was a problem in 2019. If you pull her file, it was the mold in the house was a major issue. I have spoken to the prior tenant. The first words from the prior tenant were, "Get out." His son now has asthma from this house. The same mold people that pulled all the mold out of the basement told me that she has been nothing but a problem. From when they worked with her in 2019, they told her to have a dehumidifier professionally installed. She never has. She never did. Nothing with the house has ever been completed. With that original filing on 4/18 of 2019, she was seen before the BOH here, and all of the violations were continued. On September 21st, she came before the board again for those prior violations, Health Inspector Kayla Davis. And Paula has now had a total of $37,800 to date and ongoing because she was not compliant with those prior violations to this home. She did not keep up the house. She did not keep up the maintenance of the house. She tried to blame the prior tenant. I've spoken to the prior tenant. He denies everything that she has stated and said that she is one of the most evil people and the worst slumlords he has ever dealt with in his life. In the newspaper on 8/28, she said before the board that she was to retain the contractor John Hogan, who has appeared before the board before, apparently in 2019 at some point, to come and do the work again, to complete the work. Where is he? Where has he been? He's never showed up. I've not seen him. The roof was, she told me before I moved in that the roof was not fixed, that she still had problems with the roof. That was, August 21st, it was $300 a day to be retroacted to April 17th for the original violations of the home. On that date, she had a total, again, of $37,800. On September 25th, she came before the board. She cried, "Poor me." She used the 8th Amendment as her argument. She blamed everything. Basically, she feels that $42,000 were excessive to the property repair and blamed a lot of it on the tenant. I spoke to the tenant. He had small children in the home. She was out to seek and destroy him. This house was making him sick. She also agreed with the Board of Health because they deemed a lot of the conditions to be that they were unrepaired and concerned about the number of hearings and inspections, considering that the conditions deemed unrepaired by the Board of Health or put the family in basically bad health, and it put their safety in question, and that these things were not to be backburnered any longer. She had 24 hours to comply. Her attorney at the time said that her agreement with the board, with you guys, was that she would, through her attorney, when she evicted the prior tenant, which lived in the house another year, and this woman collected state funds for his rent, she was going to evict him, and then she was going to put the vetting of prospective tenants through her attorney's office, in which she's never done that. That was one of her agreements with the Board of Health. So she's failed to even uphold her agreement with the Board of Health back from 2019 because we did not go through that process. She said that she would have revamping of the lease to include the owner must be notified within 24 hours. I notified her immediately. Her answer to me was to wait till Saturday, till 9 a.m. It's raining in my bedroom. My son goes to school and stinks like mold. She said that she would keep an agent on the Cape to check the property frequently. It's 2024. The deck is pulled away from the house. It is rotten to the core. We cannot use it. It's our second way out of the house. If the front of the house catches fire, my family is dead. Who's paying for that? I want to know who's going to pay for my children's and my life. Since I've lived in this house, I've had to have emergency surgery. My organs were almost completely shut down. I have been nothing but sick. And everybody who comes in the house cannot believe the state that we were living in. Yes, the bedroom ceiling has been repaired. It needs to be finished. I lived without a ceiling for almost 4 weeks. You guys live without a ceiling. The only thing above me was the roof and bugs. The mold pros that were in there said that when they had to deal with her in 2019, she was such a vicious, nasty woman then. She's still the same person now. They felt bad for me. They told her back then to install a professional dehumidifier. She refused. Her answer is some 1980 dehumidifier with a pipe to go underneath the back door. The current contractor who's worked on the house has told her that cannot happen. It needs to be, one, a new one, and two, professionally installed into the wall of the house to drain. The back cellar door is installed incorrectly and is pooling because there's no gutters on the back of the house. So the water is coming through the wood door that is rotting. The gutters on the front of the house are full. The contractor has said they're pulled away from the roof. A roofer, the roofer, who's supposed to come inspect the roof, never has come. So the contractor, Donald or Charles, however he identifies himself in your records, has told her and has told me that because the gutters are pulled away from the house, that the water he feels is going in and down and between the walls. The mold pro guys who fixed my portion of the roof said the mold could go further back, and you guys have pictures of the mold in the roof. It could go back further, but they can't see it because she has so much crap in the way. So what they did basically is Band-Aid, a little paint here and a little paint there. But yet my family and my animals are getting sicker. We can't use the deck.
So
What are we
obviously-
supposed to do?
Yeah, so obviously this seems to be a serious issue there.
It's a major
So
issue.
can I ask you the last time you paid rent?
I have not paid rent since. The last time I paid was in March.
Okay,
I have a
so-
lawsuit filed against her for all of this.
Okay, so
She owns-
you're not paying.
she owns for 7 months.
Excuse me, Miss.
That is a
Miss
lie.
Hoffman, you'll have your chance to speak. I'm just speaking with.
It is on
Catherine.
record. It is
Wait,
on record
Can
with
I?
the
Can you please
courts.
slow down just for a minute? Just slow down. We want to hear you. We understand there's a big issue, but okay. So the last time you paid rent was through March 31st.
That is
So you
correct.
haven't paid any rent.
That's
Okay.
correct.
Okay. And then who else lives in the home? You have a small child.
I have 2 sons,
Okay.
23 and 6. He just turned 16, who's still in school.
Okay, so obviously, we know there's an issue there that's been made here, so now we're just here to address it. So we need to figure out, hopefully, Ms. Hoffman, you'll, speak and let us know how you're going to resolve.
Dion said
Again,
he was
I
to
just-
condemn the house. That came in, but I had nowhere to go with my family.
Okay.
You condemned the house as an entirety, but he would make me homeless, so he didn't.
So have you looked,
I've done nothing but look for a house because I want out and away from this evil woman and this house that is making us sick.
well, I would like you to refrain from derogatory remarks about anybody while you're speaking, though. It just, we'd prefer, I know it's emotional, but just refrain from doing that here, because we're trying to just solve a problem.
I understand.
We read this and we see there's a serious issue here, so we're just trying to work
Major.
with you, yeah.
It's major.
Okay.
The prior tenant's son now has asthma because of this house. It's pretty scary when I speak to a prior tenant and his first words are, "Get out." That's pretty ominous. And then the Board of Health comes in and says, here's a big fat file on her from 2019. This house is dangerous. And yet, here I sit.
I do recall that situation back then. Yeah. has the building department been
Yeah, that's what I
involved
was
at all
thinking.
with this?
So the plumbing inspector and the electrical inspector had gone in
No.
to go over
Okay,
the
you- Please don't interrupt when they're talking, please.
plumbing permits that were pulled regarding the HVAC and the flue and intake venting to bring up to mass code. At that time, the inspector did not pass that inspection for that and is still requiring fixes on that. So that is required there. The building commissioner has been notified about the decking in the back, and he was monitoring to make sure a permit came in, and it has not come in yet to repair that.
The electrical inspector has not been to my house to do an inspection. The plumbing inspector said he was going to ask him to come. He has not been to my house because he saw issues while he was in the home.
He would also have to be called by a contractor to come out, so if no one's calling him for that inspection.
So a Board of Health member, like Dion, has the building inspector come out and the plumbing inspectors come out. Why is the electrical inspector not coming out with another inspector saying there's a problem, you need to come do an inspection?
I can't say why he didn't go with them on the day. He has other inspections he does throughout the day. Their plumbing and electrical are both part-time employees. So if there was no active electrical permit pulled, it wouldn't be something that we would refer to him for.
Yeah, so we know you're very frustrated, but
Right.
we do want to be able to speak to Ms. Hoffman and just see when she's going to address these things. So do you have any other thing you want to say? before?
I will say much more after she's done.
Okay, so if you step down from the podium, so at least we can talk to Ms. Hoffman and just.
Ms. Hoffman, do you have anything to say? Could you please update us on what steps have been taken to remedy the issues that have been brought before us?
Well, my interactions with my contractors are nothing like what she has been saying. I was notified on March 14th about a leak that was coming through the ceiling. That's a repair that I actually paid someone to do previously, and it was on the 14th that I found that it wasn't done properly. I believe she contacted the health department before she contacted me. The leak turned out to be at the flashing of an old stack that went to the original furnace that was in the attic, which has been replaced. I have a furnace in the basement now, so it wasn't just a simple fix for the flashing. That's when I had to bring in the HVAC people because I wanted to just remove that stack since it was unnecessary. So the roofer couldn't just deal with that until I brought in the HVAC people as well. So I had to coordinate both of them to be able to take care of the problem at the same time. My phone records show that as soon as she notified me on the 14th, my phone records are just loaded with my efforts to contact and deal with and make appointments. It's made it difficult for the contractors, and none of my contractors even want to go to the house when she is there. I had a contractor that wouldn't even do the work after having a phone conversation with her. She has delayed the appointments of my contractors and drugged it out as long as possible. And the final inspection for the HVAC, they couldn't get in there. They have an appointment for August 8th. We couldn't get them in there sooner to finish up a ducting, and then they're going to sign off on that. But the plumbing for the furnace is complete. There were code changes to, the furnace was new and installed in I believe 2018, and the code for the exhaust has changed since then. So they did come in and completely bring that up to code.
Okay, what about any actions that you've taken to improve some of the other safety problems, like the deck and the door, basement door, et cetera?
Yeah, the door has been worked on. He sent a letter to Dion, who should have received it yesterday. contractor is communicating with Dion in regards to that. He felt it was taken care of. He put a lot of work into it, but we will pursue that further. She has refused to run the dehumidifier, which functions fine. The remediation people have stayed in touch with the property, and they said that it was doing well and that dehumidifier was working fine. And we discussed the option of another system, which we could do further down the road. She actually, I had trouble getting rent from her. She's actually has not paid rent since January. And so we had sent her a notice to quit before she had ever made any complaints. So we feel like this is a retaliation. So we gave her a 30-day notice in February, but that was a 28-day month. And so she and her lawyer are saying that the notice is invalid because of that one day.
So excuse me, Ms. Hoffman, I don't mean to interrupt you, but we're not here about any eviction process you're doing. What we're here about is Dean was there, somebody from the health department was there on 7/22, and there's 4 specific issues. You've not once mentioned the deck, which is unusable, and our agent said there's no second egress, which is a major violation. So you've not addressed that. So just please let me finish. There's 4 issues that we're here to address that haven't been corrected because our agent was there on 7/22 and it's 7/24. So I find it impossible to believe that any of these have been corrected since his visit on 7/22. Did you hear what those 4 issues were?
I'm having trouble hearing you. The deck, I don't believe I can address that till approximately September.
Well, then the deck is a major safety issue. It's unusable. There's no second egress, which is a complete violation of any rental or other property. So if it's been unusable and unsafe, it should have been corrected years ago, in 2019, or even before you took on the new tenant. So is there a reason why you can't address it sooner, or why you haven't already addressed it, since you've been notified years before and starting in March of 2015? So we're just, you know, obviously these things need to be corrected, or is...
I didn't realize until this inspection that the whole thing needed to be replaced and that it was that bad. I do intend to address it, just financially, with no rent, and I've done all these other repairs, and I'm just not able to till probably September. It's only financial, not for lack of desire. I mean, I already have the contractor ready to go, and I just I haven't had the income. I don't have the credit and the money at the time, but I have everything else in place to do the work.
So how do you think that's... Yeah, so how do you think that's going to change in 1 month? It's August. So how do you think that's going to change in 30 days that you'd have the money to do the deck if you don't have...
Well, I do have some money coming, but it may be September. I'm not sure exactly, but I have some money coming in, and I anticipate being in a better position September.
I will also say that the deck was deemed a condition danger to impair the health and safety of the occupants, which per the housing code requires you to provide good faith effort to correct that within 24 hours. So we would have need to see a contractor signed up with her or a permit pulled within 24 hours and that work scheduled to happen back in March.
And was she aware of that?
It was in the order sent with the hours, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Ms. Hoffman, you were aware, according to the health agent, you were aware of that back in March, so you completely ignored that safety issue, and that's why we're here.
Right.
Well, no, I didn't ignore it. I was trying to take care of everything, and it purely came down to financial. That's all it was.
Okay, so
Okay, but yeah, well, there are some things that have been lingering for several years now, and I'm particularly concerned about the health problems that are posed by mold present in the home, along with other things. You know, what has been done to try to remediate that? I know that you said you have a dehumidifier system in there. I know that a lot of the homes around that area do they have, you know, wet basements or moist basements at least, and they do require an industrial strength dehumidifier system that runs a lot of the, you know, most of the day year round. And I think that would be very helpful. I know that, you know, Mold Pros over in Pocasset can help with that. And I think they're a good company to work with. They're very reliable and great reputation.
Yes, that's who I'm working with. That's who did the remediation, and they have been checking in on the property regularly since they did the remediation, and it has been fine with the current dehumidifier. Since she moved in, she has refused to run the dehumidifier, but up until she occupied the house, it has been maintained to their standards. And Kenny from Mold Pros has checked in on the house regularly.
have all the contracts and the contact information to all of these workers all these contracts been sent to you, Katie?
I believe Dion knows
Our-
of the Mold Pro anyways. Go ahead, Dion.
Yeah, this is Dion. So yes, I have been in contact with all of the contractors working at this property.
Thanks, Dion.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so it sounds like then Dion has an informed opinion, and, you know, so it's hard to argue with what he's saying if he's talked to all of them and these are his findings. So the question is, what do? We have a woman that needs to find a place to live. Obviously, I wouldn't think you want to live there.
I do not want to live
So-
in May I speak again?
Well, she has been free to go.
Again, we understand that anybody is free to go wherever they want. We're just trying to address the issues. So we're talking amongst the board right now, so we'll call you after. We just have a little discussion.
Right.
We have a woman that needs to find a place. And we have a homeowner who has issues that actually, you know, the place is unsafe. So it shouldn't be rented at all. It shouldn't even be rented. People shouldn't be staying there until those real safety issues get addressed, because, you know, especially if there's no second egress. That's that really troubles me with the mold and everything else, but having no second egress, especially with a 16-year-old in there.
Yeah.
You know, and then she didn't get the contract in March. You know, I guess it's just fine. It baffles me, but anyway. So I don't know. We need to figure out a solution. Fines aren't working because those are being ignored. So what are the other options? Is it condemning it? Is it?
Would condemnation be a combination effort between, or collaborative effort between
Multiple departments.
the building
Yeah.
department and us? Right.
Since it's their code that would dictate the unsafety of those features, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, so I don't know. What do we do?
Because Ken would pull a lot of weight in this decision.
Right. So when was the last time the building code was, the building department was at the house to conduct an inspection of any sort? Do we know?
I don't know when Ken was out there last. Dion, do you know?
To my knowledge, the commissioner hasn't been to the property. The plumbing inspector was there to inspect the work done by the HVAC company. The electrical inspector was to accompany the plumbing inspector on re-inspection of the HVAC work. But as far as the deck, they have access to the pictures, which I've looked to the complaint file. But I don't think he has not been to the property.
It sounds to me like the extent of the issues that have been presented here, warrant a visit from the building commissioner to at least get an opinion or some sort of a ruling from him that he could share with us, and then we could move forward with some sort of, well, either he can do a condemnation, or we can work together to try to figure out a solution on how to make this work. But in the meantime, I am concerned about the folks that are living in that home, based on the information that we've received tonight. And also concerned that the fines have been ignored, and some of this stuff has been going on for at least 5 years or beyond. And and maybe or maybe not, Ms. Hoffman, is intending to fix these problems, but that's probably been the story for years now. And if there are financial barriers to, her being able to accomplish these things, then it's not helping the situation for the family that's living there, and further action needs to be taken on the town's behalf. That's my opinion. Anybody else?
One thing we haven't addressed either, I apologize.
No, go ahead.
The roof.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying, the roof, but the roof is the roof still leaking? But
We don't know, because the contractor, Charles or Don,
Right.
however he goes, whatever nickname he goes by,
Yeah.
has said that what he sees is that the gutters that are only on the front of the house are, one, not installed correctly, two, pulled away from the roof. So whatever water is coming off the roof looks like to him it's going down into the walls.
Yeah.
And the mold is deeper than just what we could see in that
Right.
small bit. With the mold pros, they also so stated that they couldn't see how far back the mold could go or was, because the attic is so packed with junk that they couldn't get in there.
Yeah.
So they
So-
have no idea the
Okay.
extent of the mold.
All right, so that, just further
Complicates
things, and it does, for me, it just makes it even more important for a visit from for the building department. Miguel?
Yeah, so my main concern here is the safety of the tenants now, and the health. And if, based on the description that I'm reading here and what have been tried to be addressed and not being addressed, is this dwelling safety to stay in? And is it safe? And it does not seem to be safe. And if we don't do anything and something happens,
Right.
it's an issue.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we can wait for someone to go and check.
Well, we need to have it happen quickly, so.
May I speak again?
Hold on just a moment, please. Anybody else have any comments or questions? Margaret?
Yeah, I just have one question first.
Barbara?
She comes to the podium after, though. Can you wait, just wait?
Oh, No,
Just
Julie,
one
just
more
hold on one moment, please. Go ahead, sit down. And then, go ahead, Barbara.
Oh, no, it's just for Julia when she comes, because basically, yeah, if it's unsafe, like how quickly can she get it? She's been looking since March, like why can't she find a place? Like, I
Right.
don't
No.
understand.
Housing.
It's very difficult, I know.
So
It's
obviously,
real
if something
shortage.
happens, this is a safety issue, we can't, we don't, you're hearing what we're saying, that we're gonna send the building, ask the building commissioner, and if he can go by. It's not safe to be rented, it's not even safe, even if if it was our own home, we wouldn't stay in a place that didn't have a second egress. That's like, so you may have no option but to find some place, so that's why, I was just, if you've been looking since March, you might wanna,
I have Dion's and trying to help. I have another person who's trying to help. I have been looking. There is no housing on the Cape. And I have to stay in the UCT school zone for my son. I have to. He's a sophomore.
Right, no,
He's high honors. He's won top shot 2 years in a row. I'm not taking him out.
Yeah,
The last
again,
year.
what we would rather see is him live than take him out of certain school zone. So anyway, so we are working to address it. That's all, that was the question.
I would so happily get away from this craziness and this illness and this very sick house.
No.
I would love to. There's nowhere to go. There's absolutely nowhere to go.
right, so, well, for our primary job, goal here is to try to make that an amenable place for a healthy place for your family to live. But in the absence of that, you know, we have to take some action here to make sure that you're safe. And
Under the law, she would have to pay for some place for me to go
Right.
if that house is condemned,
Right.
under the law.
right, but I think we have to at least have, you know, have that possibility explored. So that I would like to, personally, I'd like to see the building department go over there and give a thorough inspection and opinion on that particular structure.
Do we need a motion for that, Katie? And then
Yeah.
maybe we might have to have a special meeting to address it, because
Yeah,
we
absolutely.
shouldn't wait 3 weeks
Mhm.
to address this one
Right.
issue.
I can see if Ken can go with me or Dion tomorrow. Julie, are you home tomorrow? Are you working?
I work.
Okay, are you okay with us going into the backyard without you to let Ken view that deck structure?
You can go in the backyard.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is anybody here, is your son there that,
Nobody is there tomorrow. I would lose a day's pay. I've lost
Absolutely, yep.
many days'
okay.
pay.
And what hours do you work?
I work 8 to 4.
Okay.
Oh, so
Yeah.
maybe even, yeah, and you guys work, okay.
Mhm.
I've
So,
lost many days' pay meeting with the
Yeah.
contractors. I've been very compliant. I believe Dion can back me up. I've not
Absolutely,
been
yeah.
nasty to
Mhm.
anybody. I've opened the door. I have been there. I've left my home and left my valuables in there with people I don't even know in my home, so they could do the repair. I've had people show up after 6 p.m. at night with no notification to fix where the smokestack was and there's a hole in the roof. And they worked till after 8 p.m. They stayed and did their work. I have been nothing but kind to everybody, so she is nothing but a liar. I also have record
Please.
of the rent
Okay.
being paid in full through the month of March. I'm not going to pay $3,000 a month for a house that is killing my family. I'm not doing it.
And we understand that, we're
Yeah.
trying to work with you, we're trying to help you, we're trying to help solve it. That's why we're just asking you, so we're trying to figure out what to do.
The contractor Charlie told me, and I'm not sure if he put it in the emails to Dion, told me that she told him directly that she was not going to fix that deck. She refuses to fix that deck until she throws this B, until this BITCH is thrown out on her ASS. He called me
Okay.
right away and he said, you need to find a home. She is not
Okay.
fixing that deck.
That's not
Okay.
true.
All right, listen, I think we need,
2017 and
excuse me,
never serviced.
Julie, thank you. I know, I think we've heard enough about the situation, and I'll entertain a motion from anybody about the next step.
I mean, I'll make a motion that the office staff reach out to Ken, the building commissioner, to take a look at the house, get his thoughts on condemnation or his other professional opinion, that the office staff can report that to us, and then we can decide what to do from there. You know, even if it's prior to, even if we have to have because
Yeah.
our next meeting is to the 14th, this shouldn't wait.
We can do a special meeting, that's not a
Yeah.
problem.
Right.
So that would be my motion. And Katie, you can just let us know when, Ken's available. And then, obviously, you can go, a lot of these issues are outside. I mean, Dion has evidence and pictures of everything else, so, Ken is, experienced enough that he'll be able to, use the pictures and things like that and go outside, so.
Okay. A second?
Second.
Okay. Thank you, Margaret. Go.
Yes.
Yes. Bob, yes.
Julie, will you have access to your phone tomorrow while you're at work?
I will not, between 8 and 12, I will be in a board meeting.
Okay. So we'll try and schedule it for after that, and I'll just text you when we're heading that way if we have time.
Yeah.
Does that work?
We'll try to, seek the best resolution for all here.
I understand,
Yeah.
and I have not stopped anybody. The only time I had to reschedule work is when I was taken into the ER and my organs were shutting. I was dying.
Okay.
And I notified Dion, which is on record, immediately that I had to reschedule the roll calls. I called them to reschedule, and they stayed on task with that rescheduling date.
Okay.
I have not stopped anybody from coming in
Right.
and doing the work, other than me trying to not die.
Okay. We totally appreciate that. The the next move will be up to the building department, and then we'll go from there, but we're going to move things along quickly, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Is there anybody on Zoom for public comment on non-agenda items? Okay. All right, so that brings us to number 8, Health Agents Report.
Nothing from me.
Anything? Anything to report?
Nothing from me.
Nothing? Okay. All right, so number 9, comments from the board in regard to future agenda items. I'd like to take this time to share with the board that there's the town administrator and HR director had put together a panel of folks, including Joe Carrera from the fire department, Ken from the building department, and myself as the chair on the Board of Health to interview 4 very strong candidates for the health agent position. And we went through the process on Monday and again today, completed all of the interviews with 4 very strong candidates, and it was clear to us at the end of the process that we had one person in mind. It was a unanimous decision, and I'd like to welcome and congratulate Katie.
Congratulations.
Congratulations,
Health
Michelle.
agent.
Thank
And,
you.
yeah, so I'm more than thrilled, and it was a very competitive process, but she was the clear front runner, and I'm very proud and happy for you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So,
Well deserved.
well deserved. Okay. So we will be going through another round of interviews to fill Katie's now former vacant position as the assistant health agent sometime in the near future, hopefully.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll have a full staff again. Katie's been pulling, both ends here and done an incredible job, and very happy. Okay, so anybody else, future agenda items that we should?
Oh, I can mention
Okay,
some.
go ahead, Barbara.
Katie and I are working on reviewing the septic regulations. And then I actually had the wastewater advisory committee meeting yesterday, which, a lot of the comments there were that even if they do the plan, we may have to actually supplement them with additional regulations from the Board of Health. So, and I think, Stacy, we should probably involve you in that too, because you're on that committee. Aren't you on the?
I don't sit on any committees.
No, not a committee, but aren't you? Oh no, you're doing the ADU.
The ADUs, yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
they're working
Yeah.
on it.
But anyway, it'll be like impact from feedback from everybody. But Katie and I are going to take the first run at them, and then once we get a chance to look at them, Katie gets her feet solidly in the ground here.
Yeah.
Then we'll start doing that.
Anybody else? All right. I'd just like to, one thing I'd like to suggest that we think about in the future, and I mentioned this last year during a meeting, that I think what we'd like, my goal as a board member, and I know that probably you folks probably agree with this, and new people, is I would like to see more outreach to the public and education of the public on the work that we do as a board and the health department in general.
Mm-hmm.
And whether it be in a weekly little blurb in the Enterprise, or a quarterly newsletter, maybe a seasonal newsletter out to the public,
Mm-hmm.
describing the work that we do and what's available as for resources from the department, and anything that any of us can think to add into, think of to add into that, including it. It'd be a nice, nice thing for the public to have at their fingertips, I think.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. Just,
Yeah.
so that we don't seem like, okay, that's the Board of Health, no, it's their Board of Health, it's the town's Board of Health.
We're
It's
here to
not-
support them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ways we can support them, provide information, resources, right? And we have some great minds on the board that can help us with that.
On top of that, one of the things that I've been looking to at least start, working with a couple other town departments and other town entities, and maybe do an annual health fair.
Yeah.
That would kind of supplement what we do, what we provide, and then bring in other public and environmental and mental health aspects into it as well.
There are a few towns around that do that.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's a nice thing to have available, to make,
Yeah.
plan for, yeah. Okay, anybody else? No? Okay, so, number 10, approve the minutes from the previous meeting dated July 10th, 2024. Have we had those? We don't have those yet, okay. So
Do we have the previous minutes that we were supposed, that I asked to change at that and vote on those last time, and you told me we couldn't because they had to be.
Oh, we did vote on those minutes. We couldn't vote on the actual committee stuff at that point in
Okay,
time.
so
Yeah.
that's, okay.
Yes.
So are we doing that today or no?
We are not.
No, that has to be, so basically it's just reaffirming the things, because Margaret had written it down, but the video was unclear, so just as a technicality, we didn't know whether we need to do it again, so we're actually probably waiting for you. Like, we didn't know whether we should add it just to reaffirm it, but I think we all remember, we all voted, but it's just,
Yeah.
we can't hear it in the recording, I don't know
Oh,
if
is
that
that what it is?
matters.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you think, maybe we should, I don't know. I'm not sure if it would ever come back to bite us
Right.
if we didn't, but, we know who's who, right?
Yes.
We were serving, so.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody must have heard it, because Katie is in her position.
Mhm.
and-
Can we add it to the agenda so
Yeah.
it's like
In
legit?
stone, yes, yeah.
Just kind of put in like a confirmation
For
on
the
the.
special meeting,
Yeah.
yes.
Mhm.
The
Confirmation
affirmation,
on
yeah.
the vote
Yeah.
from this date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
let's do that.
Okay.
Okay, and then,
I have one thing,
Sure
one
thing.
thing for the future meetings. I don't know how much you guys are familiar with what they're called, and this is not politics, those blue zones. Those are the geographical areas with the highest concentration of people 100 and older. And there are 5 in the world, and my quest as a physician has been to make Cape Cod the next. One of the things that will help achieve that is not medications, and it's not the number of doctors, but it's really, it really involves a lifestyle change in people. And the number one thing, believe it or not, that helps you prevent dementia, Parkinson's, diseases that come from brain degeneration, come from not being isolated. And we have this facility and we have the senior center, but I wish it was open to everybody, not just the senior center, the senior population. And number 2, a diet that is low in processed and ultra-processed foods, and then physical activity. And then I bring this up because I don't know if as members of the Board of Health, if we can work with the planning department to make sure that whatever is done in the town has the goal of facilitating people like walking on the streets or, that just to get moving.
yeah.
And,
No, this is exactly what I'm, what I was alluding to earlier with the newsletter or the educational piece in the newspaper every week or 2 weeks, whatever. Doesn't have to be anything elaborate, but nice little PSA or a short article on those things. And I know what you're talking about, like the Japanese and, some regions of Italy and, right, Middle East.
Right.
Where
But there are projects like that going on in the U.S. now, and
Yeah.
they've been quite successful. There are communities that have increased their life expectancy by 3 years in a short period of time, and that's just
That's quite significant.
and it has nothing to do with prescription medications, but this lifestyle changes. And for example, some of the activities that we do in lifestyle medicine is like walk with your dog, but the dog can only do so much. Like if we could have walking clubs or things, but then we need to have at least the sidewalks for people to walk.
Right.
And you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that's something that we could promote, I think that and I'll be happy to participate in that.
Absolutely.
I would love to hear a presentation from you about more of that. That's very interesting.
Well, I did a presentation on slowing down the aging process here. I do share medical appointments groups for weight loss and disease reversal with diabetes. And so I'll be happy to do presentations and get the community involved. I think that would be
So valuable.
beneficial.
Yeah, I think that's great, absolutely.
But you're right, it should be open to more than just the seniors, because you gotta, the younger they start, you know, the better off they'll be.
Right, long
We
term.
want them touring the Cape, not doctors, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's a great idea.
Okay. Thanks, Miguel. Anybody else? No? Okay. We entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second. Yeah.
Miguel? Margaret? Al? Bob? Aye, yes? Barbara, okay.
All righty.
Thank you.